Hello, this is Myra Tanksley, and I'm recording on February the 19th, 2017. And I always give a background if this is the first time you're um, hearing my son and I's story. I am African American mother, single, professional, Christian, and I'm the proud parent of a 23-year-old son with autism who's being abused, neglected, and exploited in a very corrupt, sick system. My son is not a criminal. He has not done anything to anybody to be treated the way he has, and neither am I. I have not, like I mentioned, I'm a professional parent. I have not neglected or abused or exploited my son, but they took my guardianship away because I am speaking out and exposing what they're doing to my son. I have 3 pages. This audio tape will go on the third page that I just created a couple months ago. And of course, there's a lot of racism in this. They can't actually, I am a registered nurse for 30 years, and I'm a Christian. I love my son, and he adores me. He loves his mother. And because I dare to challenge the system and speak out the system and to protect them, they will not allow me to see him um, because they know that I get evidence. Um, and it's true. Ain't nobody wrote me saying, oh, if you don't stop slandering us, because if you're not slandering a person, then you're telling the truth about them. And they can't accuse me of slander because not only am I saying things that are true, I have proven it with my 3 Facebook book pages. So my son um, is currently somewhere. I don't know where they had placed him. I don't know what has happened to him. He would call me if he was allowed to. If he doesn't call me, it's not because he doesn't want to call his mother. He adores me, and I adore him. And I haven't seen him since July the 8th, 2015, and that was not a visit. I actually knew he would be going to an appointment, and I was there when he came out of the rundown, tiny, um, dirty townhome that the state of Ohio um, has for those residents. It's in a very noisy neighborhood. You could even hear the banging in the back of the neighborhood and stuff. And the last visit I had with him was March the 15th, 2015. That's the last time the no good, corrupt, evil, um, nasty attorney named Aaron Sanford. And I say these things, even though I'm a Christian, but I can prove they're lie. I can prove they're corrupt. I can prove, that they're low down or they're sick in the head because of the things they do. And she is the so-called limited guardian. And so, um, and she won't talk to me and stuff, but she's exposed. And I also have a YouTube channel. I forgot to mention that. And it's got audio videos. Like, I call them audio videos. There's usually no video on there. It's just audio tapes or the recordings that I have. And I have lots of recordings. So I have a YouTube channel that will have these audio videos in them. And it's at least probably about 50 and counting, maybe a little over 50. And this Erin Sanford is a very unfit, lying, corrupt attorney. She's out of the John Mashburn Law Office. They're guardians that, just uses people for money and takes these wars SSI money. Um, they don't. If you're a family member that's on it, that's advocating, that's speaking up for your son or daughter, they're going to take your guardianship away. They're going to block you and get you out of the way. But I vowed that what is happening to my son wouldn't be swept under the rug. And I got evidence. Plus, I got Jesus on my side. And when you got Jesus, you got the jackpot. But there ain't none of them slimy lawyers can write me a letter and say, cease and desist, you're slandering us. Now, on the other hand, they have slandered me because to try to make things kind of look halfway decent, they say I escalate my son. But I bet those idiots don't tell them white parents that. So who escalates the um, the white autistic um, individuals? Doesn't matter whether they're children or dogs when they have meltdowns. I bet they don't say it to the white parents. So that's what I'm saying. It's real simple. This stuff ain't racism, not hard to understand. Either you're gonna treat people justly and treat them right, or you're not. Now, if you don't treat them right, there's a reason for it. But when you have the same circumstances, the reason is due to sickness, ignorance, and racism. Now, when my son has um, or has had meltdowns or agitation and stuff, um, why are you going to blame me if you don't blame other parents when their autistic individuals have that same thing, meltdowns, agitation? Some of those autistic, because my son is high functioning, praise God, but some of them are nonverbal, and some of them have to wear helmets because all autistic individuals can communicate with behavior, no matter if they're the Aspie's high functioning or lower functioning. But my point is, how come you don't say that to the white parents? And like I said, some of them are so violent, that they have to wear helmets. So when they're having meltdowns at home with their parents or siblings, I bet their parents ain't being told, you escalate them. But I told them, I said, and that's a malicious lie from the pits of hell. Even though I know these people are, I mean, there's nothing ethical about them. I said, when you do stuff like that, they're just, just the spawn of the devil. But I said, it's a malicious lie. I said, because when Marquis gets upset, if I'm talking to him, it's only when he starts talking about them. Because he gets upset and tells me, Mom, take me home. And just like you're going to hear on this audio tape, this is an audio tape from 2012, February 14th, because he was in the state facility and it abused him. The first time was voluntary for 47 days when I was getting our home modified. And then later on, they involuntarily committed him there because he was going through a lot of puberty and hormones. And the school didn't know how to deal with him. And he would basically come home and just, he was so upset because Marquis is verbal, he's high functioning, and he's able to tell me things. But he's always telling me about things that upset him because of what others have done to him. I said he's venting to me, not because of me. But that's that racial thing, make the black mother unfit and stuff. These are some sick people. And like I said, I don't sugarcoat it. I don't whitewash it. When I say it, ain't nobody can say I'm lying. Go see my pages. And they know it. Ain't nobody gonna come to me with slander. Because when I say they're low down, no good, human garbage, that's what they are. And they cheat people out of their rights. I say even these inmates are able to have visits. I said it's unconstitutional for my son not to be able to have a visit or to spend time with his family. That's unconstitutional. And it's not even natural because God made the family. And I said, even these inmates on death row can have visits with the families and phone calls. Because I haven't, like I said, he hasn't been able to call me since December the 10th, 2016. And it's been almost 2 years since I have laid my eyeballs on him. And it's unconstitutional for me. That's why I said, I don't want to hear anything about some pledge allegiance. I said, for the people that applies to, stand up, put your hand on your heart, and salute the flag. But for me and my son, I said, I will never stand up and say it. Because it's been a lie, and it's been a lie ever since July the 4th, 1776, for certain people. Everybody's not treated the same. I said, but this country's already, that's why Trump is in there. You wonder why God allows certain people, and I'm not saying Donald Trump is evil and stuff, but you're going to see a lot of stuff where this country falls apart because it's been so hypocritical, professing to be a Christian nation and trying to sweep all, especially the racial thing. It's a very racially sick country. Everybody denies it, or most of white America denies it. And then they talk about racial violence, racial history, and stuff. I don't want to hear nothing about that. Unless you're gonna talk, if you're gonna talk race to race, remember your history. Let's start back from July the 4th, 1776. All them lynchings and racial violence against blacks in this country, going all the way back from, like I said, uh, July the 4th, 1776. So I don't want to hear it. Just I don't want to. I won't. If I dialogue with somebody that would dare bring that up to me, I said you're not in no position or your race to talk about racial violence. Let's not, because we're going to do it from July the 4th, 1776. And I know your history. I know the history of this country. I know the racial history of this country. But now it's a little bit more subtle, but it still exists. I said, I bet they're not telling the white mothers and fathers of autistic individuals that they're agitating or escalating their sons or daughters when they have meltdown. Because believe me, they autistic person can have a meltdown at home just because of the sensory thing, or it can be internal trigger. But I bet mom and dad ain't blamed for it. Just like that one place I worked at, just barely worked because I mean, they never did open up the unit and stuff. And this woman worked for this place. She was white, but when her son got violent, they helped him. But nobody never told her you escalating your son because she white. So now that that's out of the way, let's get back to this. What I'm doing is I'm making audio tapes, the actual recordings of my son, and letting people describe or listen to him describe his feelings, you know. And I got dozens and dozens of them. I said, because you're trying to speak for my son. You're trying to say that my son gets escalated by his mother. No, he enjoys my company. He enjoys talking to me. He enjoys my comfort. We have pleasant, wonderful conversations. I said, so you're lying on an autistic individual. I said, but my son is verbal. So I said, I'm going to make a page and let people hear it from, and my son's name is Marquis. Sorry if I didn't tell you that. But I'm going to let people hear it from his mouth. I'm going to let them hear how he feels about what has been going on with him, how they're treating him, how he misses me, how he wants to come back home, how he loves me, his mother. Because all they say is he always gets escalated. He gets escalated when he's talking to me. Well, that ain't what the audio tapes and the recordings have. I said, every time he gets upset, he's up there telling me about all the hell that they have put him through. And on this particular audio video, and I don't have that many on that page yet. I've been just kind of taking it slow with them. I go in to visit him. It was February 14th, 2012, and he's in there crying. And I greeted him, and it came out. They restrained me. They restrained me. He was screaming. He was hollering. I didn't know if they had restrained him right before I got there or earlier in the day because I was go in the evening. But how would you want to go in there and see your son like that in pain or your daughter? And he was screaming because he was so upset. And then I said, they restrained you. Did they do anything else? He said, they hit me in my head. And I said, like, why, And he said, because I want to come to the phone. So, it's going to be out there. And I ain't worried about nobody because I'm in God's hands and so is my son. He'll bring me back home. But my job is to expose these people while I look forward to Jesus not only bring me back home, but Jesus might find some booties like he did David Belinky. He cut him down. He took him off the planet. The so-called powerful attorney that runs over people in court. Now, that's what he told me. Because God hates injustice and he hates arrogance and pride. He hates other sin too. But God even talks about these people. Aaron Sanford, that court investigator, Eric Horvath, Keith Simones, Robert Montgomery, Mike DeWine, John Kasich, Karina, whatever her name is, Consumer Support Services, all the people that have abused my son indirectly and directly and exploiting him for money and stuff. You're going to bust hell wide open unless you repent and give your life to Jesus. But Jesus has a way of not only just stopping and saying, enough is enough, he's going back home, but he has a way of, of making sure a person knows that he's in charge. Because God, after all said and done, they'll know that Jesus is on the throne. Because I tell them about it now. I said, I don't need for you to believe or to give God permission to send my son back home. Because God has the final say. If he doesn't want Marquis to be there for the rest of his life, if that's not my son's destiny, ain't nothing y'all can do about it. And you better hope you're not in the way. Because I've seen God trip people up. I've seen him put out their light. I've seen him deal with injustice in a lot of ways. And God is very angry about injustice. The Bible's just full of it. And that's why I told that corrupt court investigator. And see, they won't talk to me. They just, put the voicemail in. And, what I say to them, and I don't cuss and say, oh, these bastards and MFs and bitches and stuff, but I say they are low down, nasty, dirty, human garbage. But I tell them, I say, ain't no use sitting up trying to deny that you're corrupt. Even God said you people exist. When he's talking about cheating people out of their rights and what you do in courts, who you think he's talking about? He ain't talking about, the average Joe on the street. He's talking about this trash that work in these courts. And to me, they're worse than any criminals out in the street. These legalized criminals, these judges and magistrates and attorneys like Aaron Sanford and court investigators. To me, they're worse than any criminal out in the street because they do it for a living. And it's what, all year round? These people make a living doing this stuff. And even God says they exist. He even talks about, people that cheat other people in the courtrooms, in the legal system. And he ain't talking about the average Joe out on the street. He's talking about court personnel. That trash that we got in our lives. But they don't want to, because I just tell like it is. But I say, y'all need to be exposed. Because Marquis, I'm sure, is not the only one that's been abused and trapped and kidnapped in a system that's just using him for SSI check and federal funds, money from the federal government. I know he's not the only one. But I said, you're going to be exposed. And if I'm so wrong about it, send me a letter saying I'm slandering you. You can't do it. Not none of them. Not none of them. No how. No way. Because if I put it out there, it ain't just words. You better believe there's some evidence that goes right along with it. I do that 99.99% of the time. So you can just about say that's the way I do it. So on this audio tape from February 14, 2012, when I went in to visit my son, he was already so-called escalated and agitated because they had just restrained him. And it upset him and hit him in his head. And he said because he wanted to come to the phone, probably to call his mom. And I said, that's a sick thing when you try to break up a family, which is also because when David Belinsky, the attorney that God put his light out and cut his life off because he died unexpectedly. When he was talking to me, I knew God was going to punish him. And it was just like a burning anger was coming from somewhere, but it wasn't coming from me. But I could feel it. And I realized after all this time that it was the wrath of God. And, God, the wrath of God, when you mistreat somebody like that, and like I said, it's unconstitutional. And, I don't expect for any justice or anything to come from the government. Because the government's doing it. That's the federal government on down. Because I wrote the White House, I wrote the Department of Justice and HHS. Nobody did anything about it. So it's all about Jesus. Jesus will bring you back home. Because a lot of people forget about God's will. And Jesus is God in the flesh. So when I talk about God, I'm talking about Jesus. And that he has a will, especially for Christians, but he has a will for our lives. And if Marquis is supposed to be coming back home, ain't nobody gonna stop that. And they better hope they're not in the way. It's going to be God's way. And of course, people think, oh, well, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that, and stuff. I say, he ain't nothing but another puppet, along with all the other leaders that are sitting in those seats. They're hot seats, because they ain't going to get no better. But he's just another puppet that God's going to use as he does the pathways to these prophecies that's supposed to come on the world. That's all it is. But this country, especially this country, I don't even see the United States in biblical prophecies in the Battle of Magog and Gog. Israel's there, I believe, China, Russia. I might be wrong, though. Modern day Persia, which is Iran, Iraq. I think North Korea might be part of that, but I know Iran and Turkey, and I believe, and Israel as they come against Israel later on, the king of the North, Russia and stuff. I don't think the United States is even around. But God has been very, very, very good to the United States. Really has blessed this country and stuff. But it's just been so hypocritical. And it's always, in God we trust, I don't think so. It's always been a very racially sick country. And, you can't fool God. And they really can't really fool, because whenever the United States starts talking about human rights and stuff, China hits back at them, and so does North Korea. But you treating the black Americans over there like a second class citizens, like they're second class citizens. You can't tell us about nothing about human rights, But it's just that stuff just comes back on you, and when you mistreat God, or not really mistreating, because you can't mistreat God, but when you disrespect God and hypocritical to God, you can't expect for Him to continue to bless you, because God has blessed this country. But from the very inception of the United States of America, when they were writing that Declaration of Independence and all that kind of stuff, at that time they had what, thousands of human beings that they considered three-fifths of a human being slaves. They were enslaved and treating them like animals. In God we trust. And we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal and stuff. So, it's been very, very hypocritical, very sick. And, they blame the victims and everything else. But I'll sit up, I'll just tell them. I said, the same circumstances. Now, how come I am told I'm escalating my son and these white, I bet they don't say it to the white parents. Same thing. Autistic individual might be having a meltdown or some type of autistic behavior or some agitation. I bet they don't say it to the white parents. And the white parents could be right there in front of their child if they start having, some behaviors or, escalation and stuff. I bet they'll say, oh, you're escalating your child. Or if they leave the child someplace and people don't know how to work with them, the environment's too noisy, they trigger them. Because they didn't even know that gal didn't even know what the trigger meant over there at the state facility. I said, well, how in the world can you take care of autistic individuals and you don't know what a trigger is? And you need to know what type of triggers they have. But I don't even think she knew what trigger meant, But so when the white parents leave their autistic individual, let's say at school or something, as soon as they leave, they start having behaviors and meltdowns. Are they going to say, oh, the white parent, they always escalate when the white parent leaves them? How about maybe the environment or the staff that you have there that doesn't know what autism is, let alone can spell it? Could that be it? But what I'm just saying, I bet they don't tell white parents that like they tell the black parents. How now? What's the reason for that? So It's not the same. But why not? What's the difference? Oh, it's the skin color. So it's racism or prejudice or bias against a black parent. So anyway, you'll hear this and look for more. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all three of these pages. The first one is the abuse and neglect of autistic Marquis Tanksley by the government. The second one is justice for autistic Marquis Tanksley. And this third one, the most recent one, where I'm putting these recordings of my son on here, is called The Audio Tapes of Marquis Tanksley is Suffering Abuse and Neglect. And I'm just letting Marquis speak for itself. I said, because they ain't got to try to tell people how my son feel about me. Of course, they slander me, but it's bad enough to slander an autistic person. I said, my son can tell you his feelings about me, about them, about what he's going through, how he misses home, how he misses his hobbies, he misses his mom, he misses holidays. Marquis can speak in his own words. So they really got upset about that. But I don't have to record another thing or take another picture. I already got enough evidence because this stuff been going on for a while. It's been going on for a few years. I said I got enough evidence, and like I said, uh, I proved that they have slandered me. I proved Aaron Sanford lied on me more than once. Excuse me. I already proved it. I proved it with recordings. And then I found a report, and I put this in my last audio video, and it was a anonymous person that was writing about her abusing, along with Robert Montgomery, the probate court judge, and John Mashburn, that's whose law office that she's out of. And this anonymous writer said that they were abusing, and he said he was a white male, but he signed his comment anonymous, and he said that they were abusing this black male resident in this nursing home, and said that Sanford said she wasn't nothing but trash, and that she was defrauding, which probably was the guardian, getting the SSI and all this kind of stuff, that she wouldn't take the man out of the abusive facility, and that they were defrauding and allowing him to be abused, and that the man's family was calling her and sending letters and everything. Said she wouldn't respond back to him. I said, shoot, that sounds just like what she's doing with Marquis. Of course, she won't talk to me on the phone. And I just called that scumbag probably a few days ago. And whoever answered the phone, she ain't here. I said, is her voicemail full? Yeah, I think it's full and stuff. I said, well, that sounds like her. Because they told me that 2 months ago. Because she will not answer back. I said, what in the world is she doing trying to be somebody's guardian and won't even answer people back and stuff? But when that guy wrote that in that comment, that anonymous white male, I said, that ain't nobody but that's Sanford. Because she ain't got no emotional attachment to my son. She don't care if they're abusing him and stuff. She's abusing him. She's exploiting him for the SSI money. And he's black, they don't care. But I always just, am still just blown away by, I said, why do these people think that I love Marquis, that's my son, less than they love their kids? Every time I think about it, it's just, you're just going like, am I dealing with lunatics or what? I said, why do they think that I don't love my child as much as they love their? I'm not going to just walk away and say, oh, well, they got Marquis, he's trapped in the system, I'll never see him again or talk to him again, and forget about my son. I love my child like they love their children, And that's why I said I'm a victim in this thing as a mother, because that piece of scum, Sanford, this one lady that called her that one time and told me, she said Talking about you putting it on Facebook. I said, I put it on Facebook because it ought to be out there. I said, that too much of that stuff is happening to these people that can't advocate for themselves, being used for federal SSI checks and money and stuff, and nobody knows about it. They're swept under the rug. I said, I'm putting it out there because God wants me to expose them and stuff. I said, plus, it ain't just Marquis that's a victim in this. I'm a victim as a mother. I want to spend time with my son and make sure that he's healthy and be able to see him just like any other mother or father. That's the way I feel about it. I said, you better believe it's going to stay on Facebook. Ain't nobody going to make me take it off of Facebook unless Jesus tells me, Myra, take it off. Then that's when they go off. I said, because it ain't just him. I said, it's a mother. I said, because I love my child just as much as anybody else love their children. But that just baffles me when I think about it. I said, I'm going to show him how much I love him. I said, because they exposed left and right. You know, I got the pictures of showing what has happened to my son. I got them on tape. I got the documents. Ain't nothing none of them going to do about it. Because, like I said, that proves that the human garbage, that this works for the government. And these people ain't no better than those criminals that you see out in the street. At least not to me. I said, because at least these criminals and stuff, they might have one or two victims. These people are doing this stuff 365 days a year, from 9 to 5, cheating people out of their rights, using people for money. It's just like legalized criminals that are thieves. They're thieves, you know, um, they break the law, they commit all kind of fraud. They're criminals. And Sanford needs to be disbarred for just all the lying that she does. Just on my case. Not nobody else. Don't have to think about nobody else. Just me. Because when she lies on me to the court. Now she should be, you know, she shouldn't be a lawyer. She needs help. She shouldn't be a lawyer. The so-called attorney that upholds the law and everything. But you got a lot of bad attorneys. That's what the Congress and the government is full of attorneys. And that's when a lot of them are unfit. They just dirty and then try to talk about somebody else. But to me, they're worse than any criminals out on the street. Because like I said, these people make a living off of this stuff. They're doing this stuff all year round. Victim after victim after victim after victim after victim. And that's why I feel. I said, because I don't want to see them either. You know, but they pushed me out legally. And people think, well, what did you do? You ain't got to do something for people to, you know, do you wrong. You think Marquis deserves the stuff that he has been subjected to? He's an innocent individual with disability. And they have treated him worse than an animal. Do you think he deserves that? You don't have to do anything wrong. There's been some good people in this world that have been treated like crap. Because the people that done it to him were sick in the head. I said, just because my guardianship was taken by them don't mean that I deserve to have it done. But I can't tell you the reason why they did it. But that protects them. They don't want to have to call me and say, oh, this happened, that happened and stuff, and I'm exposing them. They don't even want Marquis talking to me anymore and telling me what's going on. Because I'm exposing it. They're being exposed. But it's still unconstitutional. Because the way I feel about it, if you wasn't mistreating my son, then you wouldn't be giving me anything to expose you about. You think Jesus deserved, or they said that the Bible said he was numbered with the transgressors, yet he was without sin. He was God in the flesh. God himself in the flesh. But he was treated worse than the criminals. They didn't even scourge them like they did Jesus. He was hung in between two thieves. You think he deserved what he went through? We all know why and believe and thank him for why he stayed up on the cross, why he went to the cross for our sins. He didn't have no sins. But they still treated him worse than probably one of the most painful, humiliating deaths. He was treated like a criminal. So just because something happens to somebody doesn't mean they deserve it. And that's why I said Marquis ain't done nothing, nobody to be treated like that, neither have I. But if they think I'm going to just walk away and turn my head, because I'm not intimidated by sick, evil people, and just let them have my son and go on with my life and forget about my son, they got another thing coming. That ain't going to happen. But just because somebody does something to you, there's been a lot of terrible, unjust things done to good people or people that haven't deserved it. You think everybody that's been lynched or, you know, uh, they're talking about that gal lied about Emmett Till and stuff. Said that she said that she lied when she said that he grabbed her and stuff like that. I said, but look at Jesus. Look what he went through and how he was treated. He didn't deserve none of that. He's without sin. But that just shows how dirty and sick they are. That's a dirty trick. They want to get you out of there legally, block your legal authority so they don't have to go through you. They know Sanford don't care nothing about him. She'll just sign the papers when she needs to sign the paper. They need a guardian signature. That's all she does. Why she gets his money. But somebody that loves him and fights for him and would advocate for him, they don't want to deal with that. That's why I said when I make these audio videos, I put all that stuff out there. Ain't nobody can come to me and say, you're doing wrong. I ain't got not one letter of cease and desist. And I ain't going to get one. And if I do get one, I'll probably just put it on Facebook. Why I'm laughing about it? Because it ain't slander. I have proven that it's true. But just because somebody treats you like crap, I had to tell my son that. And it broke my heart because he was thinking at first, he doesn't think that anymore because I made sure that he understood that he hadn't done nothing wrong. But when I first heard that, I said, they got him thinking that he's some kind of criminal because of the way they were treating him. They were restraining him all the time, telling he's misbehaving. He was wondering why he couldn't be back home with me, his mother, why he's being mistreated. And I said, you ain't done nothing wrong. I said, just because somebody mistreats you doesn't mean you deserve it. I said, God ain't trying to punish you. And that's the reason why these people better watch out. Sanford, all of them. Because when God hits them, they ain't going to know what's... Not me, God. Because God can cut people down. He can do all kinds of stuff. Do something in their family, with their kids, or their career, or anything. Because when God get angry with you, you better watch out. But I had to explain to him. I said, you have not done anything wrong. And I said, neither have I. I said, but, I said, there's real nice people in this world that have been treated real mean by other people. And it's not the nice person's fault. It's just that those people happen to be mean and, they don't know what they're doing or, they're evil people and stuff. So I kind of told him. I had to tell him. I said, you're a wonderful young man. You haven't done nothing to nobody. He knows he's autistic. He doesn't really understand autism all that much. But I said, you're being treated like that, not because you deserve it. But they had him thinking that way. And it just tore me in two because of the way that he said it and stuff. I said, Jesus will bring you back home. I said, Jesus uses people that other people count out because he's nothing to them. He's nothing to society. And I'm not blaming all the rest of the world, but especially to them. He's nothing. He's nothing but money. He's just another name on the books to get federal funds from HHS and the channel in the money. The state of Ohio is using him. Franklin County, Ohio's using him. I'm talking about the governments and stuff. I mean, he's just nothing but money. They don't care nothing about him living in a rundown, tiny town home. And to keep his mom from exposing us, we'll just keep him hidden and isolated from her. Mom, that money keeps coming in. Aaron Sanford gets his SSI check. What, that's $800? How many more? Just how many more is she allowed to be abused and neglected just for a check? I said, these people need to be in jail. They're criminals. And that's why I said they don't want to meet with me. Because I said, I'm just sitting up here with a bunch of human low lives. I'm just sitting up here with criminals. Because when I think about them, I don't see attorney. Because attorneys don't act like that. The real ones, the ones that really are practicing the scope of their profession or what attorney or lawyer is all about. I said they don't act like that. But when I think about these people, I'm just dealing with criminals, and I'll be glad when God gets these criminals out of our lives. That's the way I feel about it. I said, because they're stealing his money. I said, anytime you let somebody stay in a facility that's abusing them and they can't even get the basic needs done and all kind of neglect and stuff, and you getting money for them, and that's where you got them living. Marquis can hardly even get any clean clothes. He can eat more than one meal a day. Because I would ask him. I said, that's my child. You better believe I'm going to ask how he's doing and what's happening to him. That's my baby. And that's why I said, why do these idiots think I love him less than they love their kids? So here we go. I'm going to let you hear this. You'll hear him screaming and yelling, and he yells it out because he's in so much pain. He just yelled it out. So here you go. You'll hear this again, February 14th, 2012. And when I walked in and greeted him, he started screaming, "They restrained me!" And I, in a calm voice, was trying to talk to him, and then he said, um, "Now I'm not escalating. Am I idiots?" Obviously, he is hurt and in pain about being restrained by them. And he said they hit him in his head. So here we go. And of course, it's painful for me as a mother to hear my son. I'm glad it's over with. That incident is over with. It happened in 2012, but just to hear it is painful for me to hear. Just to relive that. And I tell you, if it wasn't for Jesus, he's real. I said, that's the only way I can have my peace and my comfort for pulling my hair out. Because you going in there to meet your son, of course, I knew it was abusive facilities. These facilities are very abusive. Nobody knows about it, hardly in society. The public don't know about it. It's all a closed system. Nobody's supposed to talk about it. Nobody's supposed to expose it. It's a code of silence when these residents are abused and neglected. I mean, it's just a sad thing. That's why I said some of these people really need to watch out because God gets so angry that he'll cut them down or deal with them in their personal lives because of the consistent, you know, the consistence in them mistreating and abusing helpless people. Because God is very, especially the book of Psalms. I mean, he talks about injustice, but he also talks about when you're oppressing needy people. Now, he ain't talking about people that are using the system or that can help themselves, but people that, you know, rely on other people because they can't, advocate for themselves or, when he talks about the poor, he's talking about people that are needy. And you're in a job where you're supposed to be ethical and to help them people. And you're going to abuse them and neglect them and use them, for a job. Just keep them coming in so we can have a job. But while they're in there and they can't help themselves, you're going to beat on them and you're going to, like I said, abuse them and neglect them. God gonna deal with you in this life. And some people wonder why this didn't happen to them, or that happened, or something in their family and stuff, because of, you know, what you have done to other people. You can't expect God to bless you if you're gonna mistreat other people. And again, it's so sad, and these people are the worst of the worst because they make paychecks off of this. These people go to work doing this stuff. But um, if you didn't hear it, you and like I said, this is on the micro cassette, so it's not that clear. And I'm trying to talk fast so that I got a recording that is going to last. Because if you kind of record over an hour, then it won't be able to upload. But hopefully you have heard, what he was saying, that you know because he was in so much pain. He was yelling. They restrained me and they hit him in the head. And, I was going like, why? He said, because he wanted to come to the phone. He was trying to get to the phone, probably to call, you know. So, I mean, that's abuse. You don't restrain somebody just because they want to get to the phone. I mean, it's just awful. And that's why I'm playing the tapes. I said, so, let's not try to pretend that Marquis had been treated wonderfully and ethically uh, by staff. He's been restrained, he's been beaten, he's been assaulted, you know, he's been assaulted by both staff and residents. His needs has been ignored as an autistic individual, and it still is continuing. So I'm gonna put it out there. Ain't none of that scum, Aaron Sanford. If you hear me now, and the rest of you scum, ain't none of you gonna be able to say I'm slandering you. You're being exposed, and you're going to continue to be exposed. Because now at that time she wasn't a guardian, a probate court. I was a guardian, and I wanted to get him out of there, and I did. I had to bring him out of there, but I was waiting until they finished the walls. But I actually now when they put him over there illegally and civilly committed him over there, um, probate court just ignore my feelings and put him over there, and that's when I actually seen him get punched and attacked by a thug over there that worked for the state of Ohio. But it doesn't matter, like, why he's over there. The focus should be on these residents are being beaten, they're being restrained and abused, secluded, and there's no reason for it. Because he told me that he just wanted to try to come to the phone. He was trying to come to the phone, and they restrained him and then hit him in the head. So uh, it's just terrible. It really, really is. But it's going to be out there what has happened to my son. And I want any scummy lawyer or judge or court, all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, challenge me. We'll talk about it. We'll just challenge me about it. Let's have a round table with all the evidence that I got. And that's why I said they really don't have to guess too much because it's already out there. I already have put it on Facebook and YouTube. So there you have it. I'm getting ready to put this on the audio tape page. I ought to do another one, but when I put them on there, I don't really like to put like two of them on there. I want to let people have time to get to the one that I just posted. So usually it takes me about a week or maybe 2 weeks, from a week to 2 weeks, mostly 2 weeks before I'll put another one out there. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a blessed day, and Jesus is Lord.